Good day, everyone. My name is Christian Paris Farinas. I will be the one discussing to you today our research proposal. This research presentation will include the discussion of the following title, background of the study, statement of the problem, theoretical and conceptual framework, chapter 5, summary findings, conclusions, and the recommendations. Now let me present to you my member. Now let's begin our research entitled Relationship of Poverty in All Senior High School Modular Students that Cause of Not Having Enough Gadget to Study at St. Vincent Institute of Technology. Now let's quickly break down the title Relationship of Poverty in All Senior High School Modular Students. Basically, this is talking how the poverty affects the students and its causes. Its causes like not having enough gadgets to study, and this would be the main key factor of the study. This means it revolves around the concept of relationship of poverty in senior high school modular students of St. Vincent Institute of Technology. SBIT is pertaining to the population or the respondents of our study. And now, and now let, and now this would be the contents of the presentation. Introduction, background of the study, rationale of the study, statement of the problem, theoretical and conceptual framework. Chapter 5, summary, conclusion, and the recommendations. Now let's move forward. Let's go to the introduction or background of the study. Let's first define what poverty means. Poverty is a state of being extremely poor, the state of being inferior in quality or insufficient in amount. Is a state or conditions in which a person or community lacks the financial resources and essentials for a minimum standard of living. Relating to senior high school, students are the one would be affected by poverty. One of the greatest challenge for all senior high school students is not having enough gadget to study well, and it may cause an inactive performances. Being a modular students often face problems, especially when there are activities and performance tasks that require the gadgets, and this problem have relationship with the poverty. But this problem can be prevented with genuine desire to conquer these difficulties. With the appropriate guide of teachers and co-students, the most important guide of all, the guide of a parents, and this time we're in currently time of pandemic. Pandemic pushes millions of people into poverty. So it has a big impact for every single family and also students to adjust in the new policies. Rationale of the study. The reason why you choose this topic. I choose this topic, relationship of poverty in all senior high school. In all senior high school, in our journey in study, even during time of pandemic, we encountered modular students inactive on school because of lack of gadgets. Lack of gadgets have been a problem ever since, and it's not just for a students, but all people need gadgets to make life easier. I simply choose this topic because I want to aware other teachers, students, and other about what's happening in modular students studying but not having enough gadgets. Because when I experienced one of these situations, and I understand how hard it was. Is this? That is why this is the reason I choose this topic, relationship of poverty in all senior high school that cause not having enough gadget to study at St. Vincent Institute of Technology.
I'm Lady Anpiriores. I discuss theoretical framework. This study anchor from the theoretical support of education can lift individuals out of poverty and into rewarding careers by Christian. The Direct effects of poverty is the revolution and crime by Aristotle. So we need to hold on for education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world by Nelson Mandela. On the other hand, poverty is multidimensional. It extends beyond money, incomes to education, health, career, political participation, and advancement of own culture and social organization by Atal Bihari. On aforementioned problems, Robert Kennedy said that the lack of education, old age, bad health, or discrimination, these are cause of poverty, and the way attack it is to the goal root, since we are looking for recommended solution for the poverty. Barack Obama said that the best anti-poverty program is a world-class education.
Conceptual Framework A. In conceptual framework, we can see here the input process and then output in input. You can see the demographic profile of the respondents, the age and sex or gender including our statement of the problem. In process, we can see the online survey, feedback, and graph. Right away to output, we can see here the expected result that will happen in this research. For example, to understand the positive and negative effect of not having enough gadget for HSH modular student academic performance. In, in conceptual framework B, we can see the poverty and the arrow towards education and arrow towards to the poverty. It clearly define that poverty affects education, then the education affects poverty. It means we can beat poverty through education. Specifically, it intended to provide answer to the following question. Number 1. Is there a significant relationship between poverty and academic performance of modular students? Number 2. How did poverty affect the modular students? 3. It is required to have enough gadget just to improve the academic performance. Number 4. It is hard to study when you don't have enough gadget. Is there no another way to find a solution? And last, number 5. What are the possible steps of recommendation can be provided in order to address its concern for modular students?
Summary of findings. Is there a significant relationship between poverty and academic performances of modular students? There is significant relationship of poverty to education according to the data gathered. 21/21 of students or the respondents said yes. How did poverty affect the modular student? According to the data gathered, when there is a financial problem, it leads to the insufficient support from the family, reason why there is a lack of gadget, and somehow it pushes the students to work. 3. It is required to have enough gadgets just to improve the academic performance. According to the data gathered, in the advent of technology, students should have gadgets to study. Abdiv, the other some respondents, is still believe it is not required. Number 4. It is hard to study when you don't have enough gadget. Is there no other way to find out a solution? According to the data gathered, students set aside their school activities for reason it's very hard to do. It without gadgets and supported by others respondents. It really show at yes it's very hard. Number 5. What are the possible steps or recommendation can be provided in order to address this concern for major students? According to the data gathered, table there are 5 respondents recommend that the school must provide gadgets. Next, we have 5 of our respondents recommending to us a help from classmates. However, 5 of our respondents suggested to ask a help from family relatives. The next, suggested by 5 of responded, they suggest to use Pisonet or borrow a gadget. The last and only one suggests is look for job. There is only one in 21 of respondents suggested to look for job as a recommendation for co-students to other students who studying but not have gadgets cause of poverty in St. Vincent Institution of Technology.
Conclusions. In my conclusions, based on the findings on the survey. Number one, the respondents on survey, it's either senior high school online students or senior high school modular students, has the same point of view. They are both aware about the relationship of poverty to students, and in some situations, other people doesn't aware on how hard to be a modular student and don't have enough gadget for study. But because of poor situations of family, many of modular students struggle on self-study. There is number two. Therefore, I'll conclude that there is a significant relationship of poverty, and it not only affects the students, but poverty affects all economic situations. There are problems that I might want to show in this research, that the education is the most important for every children live in this country. To support our country from growing, we must invest or support the education of all students. The researchers, conclusion number three, the researchers concluded that all senior high school modular students are affected by poverty. We already know it has a relationship, and it causes for students to don't have gadgets to study like that. However, modular students making their way to maintain their family stable by having and looking for job, helping family from financial problems, and also modular students have their time for maintaining their academic performances. Recommendations of the study. Number one, as we shown, the relationship of poverty to education, it has been proven the teachers should be more advanced announcing the releasing and collecting the modules for modular students, and also teachers should be releasing an advanced lessons to be for the modular students for them to advance reading, to be prepared for future lessons, to make them easily to self-study. Recommendation number two, the researchers suggested for the school administration and government assistance, but since we are in private school, we suggest to build more intentional meeting, event, and group to motivate and encourage modular students struggling in academic performances and help them for everything for everyday adversity. We will implement the Republic Act RA 9155, also known as the Governance of the Basic Education Act of 2001, and the Republic Act of 6728, Government Assistance to the Students and Teachers in Private Education Act. These laws must be enforced for the benefit of the modular students. However, the simple solution and key to the academic performances, stable, even the advent of using gadgets, is having a time management. Recommendation number three. The researchers recommend group assistance for the modulars. Move forward for the students already have their own family or victim of a early pregnancy and living in adversity. They are protected under the Republic Act of 10,354, Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012. And for the students experiencing discrimination, we have the Republic Act 7610, Special Protection of Children Against Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act. Why did you choose this topic? Poverty has been a problem for many generations, but now it's still the problem of our country. As we discuss, I want you to know the one of the multiple effects of poverty. Poverty relates to multiple economic problems, including educational crisis here in the Philippines. As we can see, even in social media, educational crisis is very visible. You can see it everywhere and everywhere, anywhere, because in this problem, including the lack of gadgets, even the advent of technology, we can educate other people and aware them of this kind of problem of senior high school modular students. What are the objectives of your study? The main objectives of my study is to expose the real condition of a senior high school modular student studying at St. Vincent Institute of Technology, expose how hardworking they are, and the objectives of my study is to have voice for modular students living in poverty and still studying to achieve their goal. This study want to serve as reference for coming researchers and to educate the coming students, and this will contribute a big impact in understanding the difference of online students and modular students. What type of research did you use? Basically, in this research, I consider that I use mixed type of research. It's a mix of basic research because in our study research topic, we want to extend man's knowledge to this kind of problem. And then I consider also this research applied as applied research because one of the objectives wants to solve wants to solve practical problems of the modern world. And its goal is to improve human condition and also for the phenomenological research because in our research we're describing how hard is the life of senior high school modular students.
What something technique you did you see in selecting the participants of your study? The study used probability sampling as a method of research. It involves random selection, allowing you to make strong statistical inference about the whole group. We have stratified something in this method. The population is first divided into subgroups and clustered, something also known as clusters, which are randomly selected to be included in the study. We choose these probability sampling methods to make our conducting of research easier. To observe the relationship of poverty in all senior high school modular students, this study was conducted at St. Vincent Institution of Technology, North Caloocan City. The respondents of this study are all senior high school students, particularly modular students. They were chosen using probability samplings. This employed quantitative research and utilized probability samplings and stratified samplings, involving collected data were obtained through the pre-test and post-test. The statistical tools used in this research were mean, percentage, dependent, and independent tests or questions in survey. What research instrument did you use in gathering data? The questionnaire was created using Google Form in data collection. Gather in research allowed the respondents to Google Form interviews in research are encounters between a researcher and a respondent in which the latter is asked a series of questions. The respondent answer relevant constitute the raw data analyzed. Seeking interpretative data
We make individual observations or find episode giving insight into our main issues such as language problems from some trainers program support that the field states implied redefinition of full service. In the accountability, mandates, and employment needs, interpret data are some things reported in narratives, snapshots, and videotapes. They give us the information from individual observation.
What would you recommend to the next researchers? I simply recommend trust your research instructor, your members, and yourself as well. How does your study help intended readers or other people? As I said earlier, this study will serve as an eye-opener, and this will help teachers, school administrators when implementing policies when it comes to the modular students, and this will be served as a guide for the changes to the next school year of modular students and for the school.